All right, guys, so new workout for you guys today. We're actually gonna use this to focus on single-sided weaknesses. So if you find that you've got a lot of dominance in maybe your right leg or your left leg, we're gonna do 3 sets, and a lot of these things are supersetted, meaning we're gonna kind of hit 2 of the same movement patterns back to back. Each section of this workout is 3 movements and 2 supersets, and then we're gonna have 1 that is kind of a relief movement or something that is in a different direction. So first set today is gonna be an offset trap bar deadlift. If you don't have a trap bar, that's totally okay. You can actually do this with a regular barbell. You can even do this movement with a regular kettlebell, but the best way to do this is actually the trap bar. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna force you to teach your brain how to work on just this side of your body. So we're gonna come down and do this regular deadlift. And my whole goal is to keep this bar even, okay? Now I can tell you I'm pushing off a lot with the left leg, and I'm really focusing on getting this movement pattern right. So coming down into a good hinge and pushing my hips all the way through, okay? Now listed on the screen here will be all of the reps and set counts. Usually we're gonna go for 3 by 10. Next movement is actually gonna be farmer's carry. And this one's really important. We can do this a couple of different ways. So farmer's carry, I've got 2 kettlebells here. I think these are 27 or 28 pounds. What I really want you guys to focus on is kettlebell, dumbbell, doesn't really matter all that much, but we're gonna focus on the marching pattern. This marching pattern is super important when it comes to running form and running mechanics. Okay, so we're basically gonna slow everything down, and what I want you guys to do, I'm gonna give you a nice side view here, is we're up, and you can see knee up, toe up in dorsiflexion, and we're gonna come out almost like a B skip, take a small step forward, and I really have to focus on holding this big toe down in my right foot as I take this forward. Now, as you guys saw, I had to fight for my balance a little bit there. And that's the whole point, is we're trying to teach you how to hold good, tall form under tension when we're in this extended position. I still land underneath myself and take a small step forward. We're actually gonna end up doing this movement for time. So maybe a down and back. Now, I wanna be really clear here. We can do it in that general farmer's carry position. We can also go in a single suitcase loaded position. Again, focusing on what side is maybe our weaker side. We're still gonna wanna balance things between the left leg and the right leg. So if you do a minute on this leg, switch and do another minute on this. So we're gonna go for an even number of sets, more than likely 4. Last movement here is gonna be the bird dog. Now this is one of my favorites. This is just a good stretch and a good general movement. Now, when you're down here in bird dog, what I really want you guys to think about is when you're here, you're trying to hold this opposite arm, opposite leg position. Okay, so I'm gonna root myself, and from this toe to this hand, I'm pushing across my body to hold that tension. Okay, and I'm trying to hold it. It's not just up, down, it's up, 1, 2, that is 1 rep. Switch, 1, 2, that's how we're gonna handle those first 3 movements. So to recap, offset trap bar deadlift, farmer's carry for time, and then bird dog. If you guys want, I'll give you guys a little bit of an extra one. If you've got a lot of room, doing a nice bear crawl is a great other one. If you're sick of doing bird dog, done it a lot. What I want you guys to do is come up into this low bear crawl position. Get your feet nice and planted. Work on getting those toes into the ground. And I'm gonna come across my body again. And what I really want you guys to think about doing is not just going back and forth, but controlling also left and right. So making a big square is a really good way to utilize those movements. So the second set that we're gonna do here is a reverse lunge. Now this is one of those movements that you guys have probably seen a lot. And what I want you guys to do is either use a plate or you can do it on flat ground. But a reverse lunge, we can load it. I'm gonna go ahead here. You guys will be able to see this. I'm gonna hold this weight out in front of me in a nice goblet squat position, and I'm gonna be here, reverse. Okay, I need you guys to stand up at the top of every single one of these. Okay, that is our reverse lunge. We want this plate here that helps activate that hamstring right underneath the glutes, really targets that area. So if that's an area of pain, this is a good one for you. Next movement here is a lateral lunge. Again, holding a nice goblet squat here. Should be a weight that's maybe a 4 for you, 4 out of 5 weight, so it should be pretty heavy. So let's see here. Come down, nice and deep lateral lunge, kick, push off, land, kick, push off, okay? The reason I want that little bit of kick and push off and not just coming back up is we want to focus on that top end balance for a little bit when we're on that single leg. So, last movement in this set is a stability push-up. Now, what we're going to do for a stability push-up, let me do a little house cleaning here. The stability push-up, the reason that I really like this movement is I want you guys to know that when we're running, we still have to have power in our upper body, okay? We still need to be able to have good movement, and this one also helps work our core. Every single movement that we do, from a trap bar deadlift to a farmer's carry to a lunge, requires us to use our core. This is one that actually works on our body position. When we're running and we want to get that slight tilt forward, we have to have a really engaged core. Well, to be able to do that, we want to focus on what are some other ways that we can help our brain understand this position. So if you guys can imagine, I've just tilted this, and now I'm in a horizontal running position. I'm up on my toes, I have a nice powerful position, and I'm going to come down, stability push-up. For some of you guys, that push-up is really hard. So I want you guys to realize that you can also do that here on a knee position, maybe knees up, coming down. And all I really want you guys to do, this doesn't have to be a big arm movement. It's more about having a tight braced core and not letting this happen where you're really got those hips in or you're back here doing this. I really want you guys to think you're here, nice and tight, braced core, push up. If you're here, tight and braced, so I can tell you I'm really locked in on my core, down, back up. Okay? So that's the end of the second set. Reverse lunge, lateral lunge, stability push-up. Okay, so for the last set of 3 here, what we're gonna do is Bulgarians, kettlebell squat, and isometric band hold. I really think it's important for you guys to start working on some single leg movements. Nobody likes them because they're difficult and they're hard, but they pay off in the end. So for a typical Bulgarian squat, what I want you guys to do is first just get here. This can be the hardest position. And if this is hard for you just being on one foot, you don't need to add any weight whatsoever. This is a good movement pattern for you to learn how to be stable in. So what I want you guys to think is big toe is down on the foot that's planted in front of me. You have to kind of get into a little bit of a offset position, and all I'm gonna do is, the first thing I'm gonna do is hinge my hips back. I'm gonna come down, I'm gonna come back up. I'm targeting this glute right here. This one back here, I'm pushing my toes into the bench pretty hard so that I can maintain my balance as I come down. Now, I could be in a farmer's carry position, I could be in a goblet squat position, I could be in an overhead position. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to make this movement more challenging. The further I put weight up above me, the more challenging it gets in the transverse plane. Okay, so that's the Bulgarian split squat, one of my favorite movements. Next one we're gonna do is just a regular kettlebell squat. Again, you can do a regular squat pattern with this, with the barbell on a rack, but I'm gonna take this here, and all I really want you guys to do is work on getting that good hip hinge down nice and low. Okay, because this isn't a ton of weight, what I want you guys to focus on is actually getting this pattern and going through the full range of motion. Okay, some of you guys will call this ass to grass squats. I want you guys to go all the way in this deep position, okay, when you're down here with weight, because most of the time when you squat, people go to here. I want you guys to work on getting that nice deep hip mobility. I can put my knees, or my elbows inside my knees, and if I need to, if you're saying, Coach, I got some hip pain when I do that, when I get really deep into a squat, I don't love the squat. I want you guys to think it doesn't have to be feet straight forward. We can open up this, especially ladies, you've got a wider set hips. So I want you guys to open your toes up, and that can make it easier for you to be able to come into the full depth of the squat. Last one we got here, we're gonna grab that band one last time. What I'm gonna have you guys do is actually take a seat. This is the easiest one, we end on easy. Maybe that's the best way, maybe that's not. Let's go ahead here, bring the whole bench around, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna get and put the heaviest band that we've got. And all I want you guys to do, I want you guys to sit here, and this is 60 seconds on the clock. If you guys wanna make this really hard, you take out the bench and you put yourself against the wall, just like the one behind me. And all I want you guys to do is work on, first, holding this position. 3 rounds, a minute each at the end of this superset. Okay, these are harder movements, but we're gonna focus on tackling which glute or which hip is maybe giving us an issue. Okay, so I can hold this for a long time. I got some good strong glutes on me, but when I first started, this was hard with a heavy band. Okay, now, if you're saying, Coach, I got that, I'm good, what I want you to do is now work on controlling independent legs. So we're just gonna go reps now. 10 reps, this leg, independently controlling. This one stays rock solid, so this one's supporting. And I can tell you, right here in the hip, I'm feeling this. This is what I have to do now as part of my warm-up. Okay, so once I get through 10 reps here, I'm gonna go 10 reps on the left. I'm gonna hold this position right here, and I'm gonna independently work this, okay? So these movements are gonna help control that. By the time you get done with this set, this is actually gonna be pretty challenging, okay? So that is 3 new movements for you guys and 3 new sets, so 9 new movements. Really hope you guys enjoyed this.